It's Friday night, guys, and we're back again. We're here. We're at it, right?
Yes, we are. Bum, bum, bum. Welcome to Prodigy Lifetime.
Yeah, yes, she's coined it. So, guys, this is home selling season, right? We have a few things to talk about, right? And you'll hit us with that question, but a couple of things, some kind of like news and developments in real estate. One of the things is that mortgage rates have dropped below 6% as of this week, since the first time since September. So it's picked up buying activity. So things that haven't were moving before are starting to see a little bit more activity. And after a few months of declines, we began to see the process kind of reverse itself a little bit. Let's see how that plays out. The Fed met this week, rose interest rates a quarter point. And it's very important to note, though, with interest rates jumping up a quarter point, that they can be seen, it shouldn't correlate with someone's idea that mortgage rates are actually impacted by Fed rates. Make that clear. 10-year treasuries make up the market for, they make up the market for mortgage interest rates. So make that a note in your head. So when you're watching and see if mortgage rates will change from day to day, you can go to CNBC, go to 10-year treasuries. They'll have treasuries at the top bar. Check it out every day. You'll actually see them tick up or down, and that really impacts how much you'll be paying day to day. So it's volatile. So
Yeah,
it's important to note that. So the home buying process is picked up once again, and I think I believe from the last National Association of Realtors, pending home sales were up 2.8%. Activity's up overall. Where that leads is still a little bit topsy-turvy. But if anybody has a feeling about that and they could leave a comment, that's great. But it's important to note that it is the market has kind of shifted a little bit in the seller's direction. Not much inventory, very, very, very low inventory levels. Things that we haven't seen since about 2018. So it's not like buyers are finding discounts to the degree that they want them. Mm-hmm. So either they're not buying or they're still paying premium. So guys, this is a strange market. Fundamentals are not making sense in every type of direction you'd expect when home sales decline. So if anybody wants to know how much they decline, it's a 50% decline in sales volume over the last 12 months. So it's considerable. But it hasn't affected prices to the degree most home buyers are probably finding out. The house that they like is limited in supply. But with that, we're going to get into the first set of questions, right? And you did some homework.
You guys want to know the topic of the
Yeah, we got to go to the topic.
So, the mistakes homeowners make when evaluating their home's value independently.
Yes. Independently. Yeah. I want to make that clear because we get a lot of that. And one of the things that we like to do is there is what I call the pre-flight real estate valuation modeling.
Pre-flight.
Yes, it's the
real estate
so within the context of real estate, sellers often what they'll do is they'll take generalities that they find online, Zillow estimates, and they try to formulate a value in their mind, and so, make a lot of comparisons.
Or they compare neighborhood.
Yeah, and neighborhood aesthetic benefits. Okay, so let me just, before we get into the actual questions, I just want to get a couple of things in that arena straight. Is when you're looking at your house and you're saying to somebody, I'm looking to sell and this is what I think it's worth based on everything I've done evaluation for. A lot of times people aren't trusting of the process. So and I get that. They feel like sometimes real estate people will undervalue their property and they're not working hard enough to get the value that I expect. You should really get a good read on the person that's actually doing that and see whether or not, you know, when you listen to them, are they actually pointing out the things that are necessary to give you the right valuation metrics. So it's important. So the big thing that I like to tell people is make sure you know the person walking in the door has a good read on market indicators, and just, you know, they'll point out some leading indicators, trailing indicators, things like that. Get a read on it. You'll know what to do at that point, as far as whether you're getting a good analysis or a bad one.
Maybe you could explain what leading and
trailing indicators.
Mm-hmm. For some people that may not know.
Okay, so leading indicators, what you want to do is with leading indicators is what we call pending home sales is a good leading indicator. These are what we call like they haven't closed yet, so they haven't impacted market values per se. So it's not a value. You're not getting values based on that. You're getting volume of activity based on prices and within a specific location, specific house. Mm-hmm. So you're getting to see like, are volumes up, down? So volume is important to understand, like what I call market volatility,
mm-hmm.
Which is
volatility. Volatility.
Yes. The tongue twister. So, anyway, so what happens is that with market volatility, it's like, and we were talking about it with Rudy here, who's actually the R&R blinds person, and he asked us, he asked me specifically, like, what's going on with this market, you know? Like, the interesting thing, and this is the way
inside scoop.
Yeah, the interesting thing is that volatility in real estate valuations are on the increase. Mm-hmm. This is a real interesting thing that I've watched over the last few years, how quickly a market can move. Mm-hmm. Up or down really within weeks. Yeah. So it's so important with the news of the day to kind of understand, like, do you have a volatile market situation, which is the first time, I'm going to be honest with you, this is the first time in history, I think, of doing real estate that I've seen, this is year 18 for me, that you see what I call price swings like stock swings. Like prices can very, very, fluctuate very, very abruptly within short periods of time. So let's just say the news of the day economically is souring, and like, so you get a consumer sentiment is really riding on the news of the day. It's unbelievable to say this, but you are really looking at a different kind of real estate environment than people are traditionally used to. So market volatility in real estate is key to understanding like where things are heading. Smart real estate people know this, and we keep a beat on it as a company. So if you watch Kerry, she does the stats every week on each neighborhood individually.
Every Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, Tuesday and Thursday, to give you like an update on like where volumes are, some leading indicators into the market. So you should pay attention to those things.
You get your weekly statistics, get to find out where your neighborhood is.
Where is your neighborhood?
Great. I don't want to say that out loud.
It's a big place. It's not that big a deal. You live where you work, you know.
𝐏𝐸𝐿.
She's afraid somebody's going to come through the screen and knock on the front door. Is that what it is? Okay. We'll leave it at that.
Listen. You got to be careful, guys. Online.
Yes, online. I have to be careful too.
So, I got a question for you.
Yes.
For you, Mr. 𝐿icerdello.
That was good.
You like that? Mr. 𝐿icerdello?
She said my last name well.
The first time.
Impressive.
How much... Sorry. How much does homeowners over-evaluate repairs?
Yeah, okay. That's a good...
What? How can you make it like effective?
Okay, so this is one of those things, like a lot of times prior to a person going on the market, what you really need to do is evaluate, like, some things are worth more than others. And I can't say this from an individual perspective of valuation in terms of repairs. Most of the times they're overestimated. Now, it's important for certain reasons that the number one factor in a home sale is cleanliness. Okay, so let's get that straight. So the biggest thing I've said to people, if you're going to do anything, the appearance of clean is obviously the number one thing to do for a person that's going on the market is paint.
Because some people may
Painting
be like,
is-
oh, I need to do the roof.
Right,
When
which
the-
is not necessarily what, you know.
When the house is a complete mess.
Yes, and it's like, what do I focus on? Like, is that something, you know,
That's
obviously.
something you should ask your realtor.
Yes,
on
I
home
mean,
improvements
I just
and-
think that and you'll get it in a nutshell right here, so I'll tell you without even have to ask anybody. The number one thing you want to do is keep it clean. Like, just the general cleanliness, scent, smell is so profoundly important
Very.
to the appeal. So the one factor I always like, a cleanly painted house or a freshly painted house has a smell of newness. There's certain ambience to to an experience of a newly painted house, like
Ready to move in.
Yeah,
It gives
and
you
it's
that
clean,
feeling,
yeah, you know.
Absolutely.
And if you know,
You want to make it your own. That smell of fresh paint makes
Right.
you think fresh start.
yeah, and I think it's important to say that, and that's the number one factor.
And that's the thing.
And
That's the thing.
I
with
think of
home
all
buyers.
the things, I think of all the things that anybody could do off the bat, that is the cheapest. Although it's not that cheap anymore. I think Benjamin Moore is now charging like $40 a gallon. It's like,
Now you got $50.
is it
I don't know what I got, but I spent $100 on 2 gallons.
$100 on 2
So
gallons of paint?
$50 each.
Could you imagine?
Maybe tax. Maybe it was
So
40.
the big thing is that with the inflation is
But
doing that.
but the thing with home buyers is they want to move into a place that they can make their own.
Right.
And so if it's clean, they
It's
can
a
imagine.
clean slate.
Yes, they can imagine living there, what they want in their way of their home.
Yeah, I mean, so being neutral is an important thing.
Neutral. That's a good-
neutral coloring is important. The other biggest factor is, but you have to weight this, is kitchens.
Mhm.
Kitchen is probably the single largest expense in a house. It's also as far as weighted value on coming up with an evaluation. It's clearly one of the biggest. So, but it makes a house more sellable. It doesn't necessarily increase value, but it can, under certain circumstances, with a lot of other things being equal.
Mhm.
So that's a long phrased answer. So keep it. This is where, like, if your certain locational based features are not the best, you have to worry about how much you're spending on those things to kind of boost value. I'm not a big fan of cheap upgrades to sell to the degree that people will spend money to invest in their house. It's just,
There's also people who want to.
they want what they
redo
want
an
too,
entire-
right? So it's not so much that you'll get more. There are several parameters to that equation. However, it's just important to note that when they're being done, when your evaluations, and people are self-evaluating their property, and this is, like I said, the pre-flight checklist of home valuation for homeowners. So the big thing is that they want to look at the kitchen will have the most profound impact on value, followed by bathrooms being a second, and then very, very bedrooms, believe it or not, is not something that is. Bedroom size is evaluated, and you can't change that.
Yes.
I mean, you're not going to tear down walls unless you reconfigure a house to sell it. So I don't like to put that into the valuation as far as obviously a small bedroom, but there's nothing you could really do to kind of enhance that to the degree you can. Put in repairs, you know, it's not feasible to do a bump out on the house to increase bedroom size to sell it. So we don't want to do that.
You never know, like if they knocked down a wall, maybe someone would have wanted.
Yeah, I mean, there are people, I just think at the end of the day, you're better off left to chance on that.
That's where the weighing option
Did you ever knock a wall down in your house?
I've knocked many walls in my house down.
Yeah?
Taking a hammer and put up walls.
Yeah? Oh, okay. You have an
construction down. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So yeah, you've witnessed.
The funnest is old house. So I have an older house. The old house has these thin wooden rails inside. Yeah.
They're called lathe.
That was fun to break.
Yeah, but they sewed the concrete between them. So yeah,
mine did it because it was, I guess, the bathroom to the hallway.
Yes, a lot of times they did.
But maybe the other side did.
Yeah, sometimes what they do is, the older houses.
We tore that wall down.
It's a plaster wall. Those are old plaster walls. But the big thing is that you should look at, let's just quickly go over that. The number one feature to enhance is painting. Let's get that straight. The second valuation point is kitchen updates, things like that. To do it, to not to do it, there are several factors.
Clean.
Mow
your lawn. Don't have it be.
Yeah, those are like, and I think those are maintenance things you should be doing. I mean, it's not even like what could you do to improve it? Like mowing your lawn is obviously an important feature. Just living in your house, never mind selling it. So it's like you want to.
You should be doing.
Yes,
this is the broadcast where we tell you what you should be doing in general.
Yeah, I mean, we can't tell you to mow the lawn.
But these are the type of things that you can ask a real estate agent to advice on.
Yeah,
they know, especially our agents, they know what could work in your benefit.
Yeah.
Help guide you. So
yes, it's those
ask
things.
Questions.
And you can ask them here too. So the big thing is
give us
like,
a call.
just make sure on the home evaluation front. But there's other things involved with the home evaluation, the self-modeling home evaluation, which everybody tends to do when they're selling their house. So you can lead with the next question.
Okay, which one do I pick? Let's see.
She's evaluating. She's doing evaluation of the evaluation. I think the best one is probably.
Oh, this one kind of goes with what's the impact of staging overall, and does it matter in creating value?
Yeah, staging. Okay.
Staging. It kind of goes along with that topic, actually.
It is, because a lot of people will, when they're doing evaluations like staging the property, does it make sense if I go on the market? Even like people who don't value the real estate input and they're doing self-evaluation, they'll attempt to stage in order to make enhanced value.
Yeah.
I do think to a large degree, decluttering is probably, and being clean is probably more effective than going in and saying to somebody, okay, stage your house. There is some degree of help with the sale, but I do think it's not in the arena of staging itself. So we're in the modern area of real estate, and I think it's very important to understand the modern area of real estate, which is everybody who knows who's watching this now is watching a video. And video technology now is definitely putting people in the perspective of they're buying much more interactively than any time in the future.
Absolutely.
So my biggest thing is like home staging is great. It's probably overestimated because, to be honest with you, the first real step to selling is exposure rates, okay? So how much market exposure a house is getting is the first step, and maybe staging as a second step, getting them in the door is a second step.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to do this, it's very important to say that should be like, it shouldn't, that's like, the cart leading the horse should be leading the cart here.
Because who's going to come?
Right. So
Nobody's
right, exactly.
gonna come.
So
Yeah.
if you can't gain a
You
sense
have
of
a beautifully
appeal,
staged house and
but
no
nobody
one
sees.
would know. Your Aunt Betty might come over.
Right.
Like, wow, this is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes you feel good to have a house staged because like
Reach,
it looks great.
reach, social media,
reach,
marketing.
view
Where
counts. I mean, there's a big fun. If anybody doesn't know this already, there's a big shift in the way real estate is being done. And if you're not up to those dates on those shifts, we'll more than happily sit down with you and show
Sure,
you.
you've got a little bit of an idea if you follow our page.
Yeah, the interactiveness of the agent's ability is going to affect value.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not just like throwing fluff out there. It's actually we've conducted
It
studies on this stuff, so it's real. So if you're not creating appeal is now a lot more virtual than it was. That doesn't mean virtual tour. I want to make that clear. Virtual meaning not being physically in the space. So, but you know, it's becoming and it's growing faster and faster and faster. If you cannot generate appeal through other means other than using
Word of mouth.
Zillow. Or Zillow or Trulia, you have to kind of step out of those. These they're great technology. I'm not going to knock what they are or what they were.
Don't want to use those things,
but the problem is that
more?
yeah, I think at the end of the day, those are database searches, and we've touched on this a few times. Database search criteria to find a house is probably costing homeowners more than they realize. So that means, like, if you're familiar with eBay and you're looking for a product, you're not everybody's looking for the, all those things as far as, sorry, I'm getting a text. The things that will help improve the value, that is how a house is being presented on the market is probably the single biggest thing someone can do. So don't you agree with that? Like, what do you think about media marketing? Since you're the media marketing guru here,
it's the best.
how much is? Let's put it this way: you're obviously a millennial, right?
Yes.
I
feel like
we're gonna put it on the spot.
It's gonna be like something.
Here's the cross examination. So, how many things do you do the things appeal to you? Not necessarily housing, but do you make purchasing decisions based on what you see on social media?
That is true. Have you guys ever seen that TikTok thing that gone viral? The foam that naturally curls your hair overnight?
Right.
It was going crazy. I think 2021. It was going crazy.
Are you actually? And that's.
I ended up buying it. Yes.
So there you go. So you profoundly believe that at the end of the day that social media is influencing purchasing decisions.
I think it influences a lot, but yeah, when it comes to purchasing, absolutely, absolutely. But that comes along with marketing. How is it being marketed?
So if you were to have to do a physical search, and this is where the old school of real estate and the new school of real estate is beginning to make its biggest switch here, is that where things were very predominantly Google search and you had to go look for things.
You had to look for it when you want it.
These things come to you.
Yeah.
They come to you versus having to search for it. This is where.
Or the funny thing of you're thinking of buying a house and then you start getting advertisements from us.
Right, exactly.
Prodigy Real Estate.
You're seeing some of the stuff, and that's.
I think we make some cool stuff.
Yes, and you should go check out our pages just to see.
Anthony.
I mean, and then the agents, they're big participants in the process. So it's the big thing is that the influence on purchasing decisions and appeal generation is very key to the evaluation process. So when you're doing this stuff, guys, I understand that some people are a little bit apprehensive about what they hear from real estate people. Do check out what I consider to be the framework of marketing on a particular property. So make sure, you're making all sorts of squeaks over there.
My foot's falling asleep. Sorry.
Gotta get more comfortable chairs. It's one of my things in my next budget. So the big thing is that you want to look at these things and you want to see like how things are going to appear. If you're going to go on the market with a real estate person, check those things out. But the repair stuff, is definitely one of the other topics we touched on. So you could scroll backwards and look at it. If you kind of go long-winded, so I like to always repeat a couple of things.
But
in case.
we also talk a lot. We're talking a lot about overestimating. What about some underestimating things that homeowners do?
And I think we just touched on that. We underestimate the value. A lot of homeowners can be underestimated if they use valuation models that compare against other particular houses. So one of the things we found interesting is that when we look at presentation as being a marketable value to a property, we have to add that into our metrics, which is, I think, one of the things we found in dealing with homeowners, specifically people who decide to sell by themselves, is the comparable sales analysis as being a primary driver of value. And I will say this off the bat, it's not necessarily the absolute best idea to just take value based on everything from a quarter mile and assume that we could approximate a value just on those factors. There are plenty of factors that go into this. So I can tell you within a couple of blocks of another house, from one house to another, again, we're going to talk about is the aesthetic quality of a particular street, neighborhood, attribute, commute time, could substantially increase or decrease a home's value within blocks. Yeah. And how it's being presented on the market is really the key here. So when we do these things, make sure you do understand that, and don't mind making kind of evaluating the evaluating part of it.
One of the biggest things that homeowners underestimate is how to grab reach for their specific neighborhood sometimes.
Yes, so
they could absolutely be overlooked, where someone may want exactly what they have. Like they have a store, there's a train there, there's this, and you may have overlooked that neighborhood and looked at another. And
that's a good point.
I feel like that's something they
how many
underestimate
places,
as a homeowner.
So you were just out in New Jersey. How much do you know about New Jersey? You're from Staten Island.
Yes.
Are you familiar with much of New Jersey?
From what I've learned here.
Right. But if you said to me, Anthony, I was thinking about buying a house, would you actually know?
I actually do want to, if I buy a house, I want to move to Milltown.
She doesn't even know.
I was there, I loved it. I think it's so cute.
Well, you gotta go somewhere. I mean, it's, if you're gonna...
But the same thing, there's neighborhoods around there that's exactly the same. And where someone like me is only focusing on, this would be more of not a seller, but a buyer, right? It would be more of a...
Well, I think from a seller perspective, it's understanding the concept.
And understanding the buyer, what...
So the undervalue, overvalue estimation is really based on market knowledge of communities and townships, and how what's the level of appeal or popularity within their target markets, which is something that was obviously touched on. So within their target market, so how a specific, you just said Milltown. Now, the problem is with a house in Milltown is that if you went to somebody here, how marketable is the area just based on popularity? And this is where the Zillow things fall short.
Yeah.
Because what it requires is the person to use their own popularity analysis, not being given to them, not by seeing aesthetic qualities. It's all based on assumption. So we really need to look at how to look. So there are certain things it's funny, we'll meet a seller who's obviously done their own evaluation in a place like Milltown, and what they'll say to us is, well, if you go to Old Bridge, the prices there are we're only 15 minutes away.
Yeah, no, I seen Old Bridge is a little bit more expensive.
So what happens, but you see, that's
But it's right next door to each other, which
right.
blows
So
my
it's
mind.
like, which is like, but this is what I mean about like
Yeah.
about knowing these things aren't widely known. So you do have to reach outside the specter of neighborhoods that you're just assuming.
Yeah. Instead of overestimating them.
You know, a lot of people is just they're overestimating based on the fact that the popularity of the town next to them. Now, this has been done before. If things are done correctly, you can easily establish value on a particular property based on appeal. So it's so important, again, if you're doing the evaluation metrics for this on your own, is like, what is your capability of actually translating that to the public? So this is where, you know, and if you're going the route of real estate agent, a broker, and that's the case, you have to look at that as part of the equation in making a choice here. Because a lot of times what it is that, you know, obviously a big, large buyer pool comes from the New York region to New Jersey. Mm. So what is it that the ability of the agent, and this is where local agents and like are having a little bit more of a challenge because of reach requirements to kind of draw particular buyers in from New York into New Jersey. Yeah. But it comes with the ability to be consistently marketing neighborhoods in a way that people understand where they're going.
Yes.
And what it is in proximity to those more popular neighborhoods, but they fly under the radar. I mean, it's, you know, Milltown, like I said, it's great.
It's great when
it's like Milltown's like Old Bridge, Sayreville, like if it's like kind of niched out in there. Mm-hmm. I've talked about this at Morganville as another classic example, which is like West Morganville is like between Manalapan and Marlboro, in that area. It's like, you know, but if you talk to the person, the popularity level of it, they fall under the radar. So, and in essence, these houses can get, you know, 4 to 5% less because there's no market knowledge of these particular places where they want to target their particular homeowners, their next homeowners, I should say. So it's important to say it really matters in terms of like marketability factors are becoming a bigger and bigger chunk of valuation than it has in the past. And that's because of a few things. So, you know, I'm going long-winded here, obviously. You have to post them there. It's like,
I'm actually going upstate.
Upstate. And so maybe you could take a video of like the whole tour. Of like, you should do like one of those time lapses.
What, I could do that?
Yeah,
I'd love to do that. Yeah.
Time lapse of that.
Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, it's like a time lapse of the whole trip from here.
That's so cool. I hope it turns out alright.
You know, I've seen them and they're quite cool. But I'd give you my drone if you could fly it.
The car moves. Yeah, the drone is like where it's at. Give me one of your old drones.
Yeah. They have the ones that actually follow the car now.
That's so cool. Yeah, I know. You told me you have that.
It's on my Instagram, actually.
We're going down to gadgets.
Yes.
Gadgets day.
So the big thing is that the understanding marketability of neighborhoods is an unappreciated component of self-evaluating your property. So you're going to fall under the radar if it's not marketed properly when you sign the stuff. You're going out like for sale by owner. This is a big problem. I understand. This has always been a problem. They don't understand value of agent or agency, which is good, and I believe that to a certain degree, everybody should know what's going on with the particular agency or agent. What are their capabilities in terms of bringing out those, like, I am in this corner of the woods here. It's like nobody from New York really knows about it, so how am I going to do it? And they're waiting on, like, you know, it's okay to depend on things like MLS or like somebody, you know, coming in and realizing there's a town there. The big thing is kind of like, how could you bridge the gap of understanding between that town and a very popular town next door and bringing them there. So
it's for a homeowner, how could you get that message?
Yeah.
How can you get?
Well, it's like how you bought your thing for your hair. I mean, it's like, you know, you wouldn't know, right? You would know.
No,
so it's
never
like,
know something like that existed or how it works. But
and like, you know, it's like
tutorials where That's the thing we do is we'll have
Tutorials. It is.
It's kind of
virtual
like
tutorials.
It's like virtual tutorials.
Yes.
That was for hair. This one's for homes.
Right. Or
But
neighborhoods.
But
in
we
this
have
case.
our neighborhood
Footage. Yes.
reels.
Yes, and it's like you
Footage.
could check that out. There's some, and we'll probably even get more enhanced over time with that. But the big thing is that understanding that marketability and the ability of agent to agency to homeowner.
That's a weird. That
Anybody
sounded like
heard
my
that?
cat, actually, more than a fire
Fire,
alarm.
fire truck that went on the
Fire
water.
truck.
But the big thing is that well, I never heard that
You
before.
know, that was really weird. Goes down.
We have a firehouse right here on Nelson Avenue. But the big thing is that it's the little things that make her laugh.
That sounded like my cat, really.
Like your cat? When you throw it across the room?
Exactly like that. Oh my god. Picked him up by the scruff and I put him down.
She doesn't do that, I'm just joking. But that's what that sounded like. Sounded like a beaten cat. But anyway,
I totally lost focus. That's completely.
it doesn't take much. Really don't. But anyway, so
Wait, evaluating
what we're doing is evaluating neighborhoods, just to keep
Yes,
that.
yes,
So part
of course.
of the quotient.
Yeah.
I'm here to
You're
save
just
you,
talking
Joe.
about
I'm here to save you.
neighborhood
I'm here to
our
save you.
neighborhood drone footage.
So, but the big thing is that we're doing that self-evaluation phase. I just want to go over, just to recap everything so people understand it. You want to look at, obviously, like comparables help. Zillow is a mistake for using that as a pure valuation model. It's just not efficient enough and quick enough to understand market fluctuations in the current environment. So make sure you understand that market volatility is starting to become a thing in real estate. So it can the value of your property can increase or decrease. I've seen it as much as 4 or 5%. And I've seen it over the last year and a half specifically, could fluctuate within days or weeks. So you literally can miss an entire market within days or weeks. Do not go with mainstream media news as far as like what's going to happen with a house when it goes on the market. You're assuming a lot of unappreciated factors. So again, look at market conditions overall as part of like the evaluation, but it shouldn't be the mainstay. Comparables, obviously, to a certain degree, you have to be within reason of them, but can you reasonably expect more if you do certain things right? Mm-hmm. I don't believe a homeowner on their own could achieve that. I just don't. It's not, marketing capabilities are key to that factor. So if you're going the route of choosing a real estate company or agent or agency, especially if you're using Prodigy, you're not going to have that issue. Is that marketability of the particular property is going to be extremely unique. Yeah. And it's not going to be missed. So we don't want the people who would rightfully want this house to miss it. Yeah. So we have to work outside the parameters. Yes, it's on Zillow. Yes, it's on Trulia. Yes, but we have to step outside of that box so that it winds up in the right people's hands and eyes, and kind of goes past the search criterias to kind of get people into that house. So those are some of the things we work on. But it's important to understand. Some people believe that they could do that on their own with video. The problem is like they don't understand infrastructure requirements. Not just because someone does video does not necessarily mean you're getting the same results for it. Infrastructures are important. So like, here's an interesting, like some people operate, Channel 9. So if everybody knows Channel 9 locally in the New York market, it barely gets watched. Yeah. And there's not much programming, so the budget for running those channels is very small. So there's not really much of an audience for what you're doing video for. So if there's no audience, it's basically the video is unimportant. Yeah. So the thing is optimize strategy as far as infrastructure. How big is the reach of the particular agent or brokerage and the ability to deliver message? Mm-hmm. It's an important factor. Do not just assume a video is being done and it's being shown on Zillow. That's going to help you at all. It's still putting you in the search criteria for a house. It's not necessarily targeting out your markets for a particular house. It has to be separated in that sense. So please understand that. So that's another factor you need to consider in that pre-market analysis. How is it the house will be marketed as far as valuing the property? The next biggest thing is obviously, we talked about home staging quickly, home improvement quickly. Home improvement, important, overstated in most cases. You should get some advice about whether or not it's worth it. I would say about, not in every case, sometimes it is, 80% of the time it's not. The number one factor is, and we're just doing things, all things being equal, meaning that there's no other differences between house to house. Painting is the number one factor you should consider as part of the next month. So yeah, do that for sure. And it's like, you want to get that out there. The leading indicators and trailing indicators, are you aware of them? If you're not, you can over-evaluate or under-evaluate a property based on the latest trends. Market volatility is playing a role, and you need to be aware of that. It's the first time that I've been doing this where I could tell you week to week, there is extremely varying, very odd. This is one of the oddest markets. It's just, goodness, it's odd to figure out. You can't, like, it really is. It's, I haven't seen anything like it.
It's just completely changed
It's
after
just,
2020.
it's just,
I mean, where is it going?
I started in 2008 and like,
that was the crash.
Yeah, the crash. And I've been doing market statistics for years. I mean, this is like, about 12 years of doing market statistics on a monthly basis. So I understand the fundamentals and all that stuff. It's just so odd. It's really the oddest thing to say, like, what this kind of market is doing is just, there's a lot of things that don't make sense about it, which, it's like, is this the new way? Because if it is, it's the weirdest way possible. You'll see some houses that you'd suggest would get more and just completely overlooked. And you're like, why? This other house sold, like, you'll see, you'll see semi-attached houses, right? I mean, now we're getting into a little banter, but semi-attached houses, right? Mm-hmm. That sell for $700,000.
Yeah.
And you'll see a detached house that maybe needs a little work. Sell for $680. Yeah. And it's like, okay. Let's look at it.
That's where you have to look at it.
For home buyers, I'm going to tell you this off the bat. Let's get this straight. You are doing so much injustice to yourself. Not to say that the person with a semi is less. We have to think of all things being equal. Yeah.
Also, some people really like that.
The attached look? Living within someone else's house. I mean, you have to think about it. You're sharing the house with somebody. It's okay. I'm not saying it's bad, but I mean, when you look at pricing, though, it's completely. It makes it, so someone will literally pay.
Maybe my generation.
I mean, geez, is it that much work? I understand putting a new kitchen, but here's the thing: the long-term prospects of detached.
Not having to do anything.
Detached homes. Yeah, but
I think detached homes. I mean,
detached
I know a lot of people that have lived their entire lives there, but I see my generation. They think of it as like their first home. Like they start there.
Semi-attached.
I don't know.
Like the ones
a lot of people I know have bought. They've lived there most of my life that I've been there.
So I mean, but would you prefer to live in that, or would you prefer to live in your house? If you had a choice of living in that house or
that house is nicer than mine.
But you see, that's the interesting thing, and I like to get. This is a great perspective because you don't really get this.
Yeah.
But it's nicer than yours.
They make them very nice.
In terms of what? Just aesthetics? Like as far as very nice. When you say very nice,
I guess nice kitchen. Nice wall.
But you could do that with but you could do that with your house currently now.
My house has a funny design because it's old.
All right, so it's old, but the property is yours.
Like the stairs is an awkward place, and that's like that house is just the way it is.
It is. This is the difference between valuation. It's like I just but I mean, she brings. I can't dismiss the perspective because it's important, but and it's the first time I actually even discussed
Yeah,
that
I've never
with
brought this up before.
So it's like, why would you? It's like I grew up in I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I grew up in a semi-attached house, to be transparent. So, and I had the ability at the time to purchase a semi-attached house or a detached house that needed work, and unquestionably, it was a detached house that needed work. Because I just didn't want.
Of course, it is.
We used to. When you fought with your neighbor, you banged on the walls. That's how it worked.
You're like,
it's like
quiet.
They have a party. You're part of the party.
No.
You're part of the party, literally. So when that music is going, boy, it's
Not
going.
my next door neighbors, but some neighbors.
Your house is
close.
built. But your house is actually. But
about
isn't
parties.
Your house?
Not my neighbor. My neighbors are awesome.
No, your house. They complain about your house.
No, not about my house. Another neighbor
She lives
complained
in
about another
Albanian,
neighbor.
by the way, so it's.
But it was the
they could have some pretty
detached
crazy
house.
parties. I can tell you that. I have 2 next door neighbors.
I just think it's interesting.
They're pretty.
You can call to complain that your neighbor's hose.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, it was running.
No, it's just a mess in the backyard. How is that? I don't know. That's Staten Island for you. Staten Island.
It's not. This is a Staten Island thing.
It actually is not a Staten Island thing. It's just a random person thing.
I don't know.
Oh no, yeah. One of my.
Where are you going with that?
The attached home person. I don't know. Maybe they wanted a detached house and they were mad about it, but they had a wedding, the detached house, and the detached neighbor called the cops for them having a wedding during the day.
Oh, that's funny. That's
so evil.
It is.
I think that's so evil.
Actually, it's funny if anybody remembers in Staten Island, there's the movie.
Not my neighbors. My neighbors
everybody,
are cool if you're watching.
If everybody watched the movie, that is big as Staten Island, right? Easy Money was a movie back in the.
Oh, I never heard of this. Easy
Yeah.
Money?
Yeah. Jeez. Oh God, I have his name on the tip of my tongue. He's a comedian. He passed, but it was.
Oh, so it's like an older movie.
I don't want to date myself to say when it was, but I didn't see it as a
you could have watched it after.
But
It's
Easy
a
Money,
classic.
Easy Money. They had the wedding in the backyard of a semi-attached house, I believe.
Oh yeah, and then
And
anyone called the cops.
It was in the Heartland Village neighborhood. It was when Heartland Village was like pretty new at the time. It was like just being the Heartland Village. If anybody else would know, that's by the mall. It was there. It was filmed there. It was quite funny and humorous. So when you say, yeah, it was a Staten Island-based film. Yeah.
I gotta watch that. Easy
We're
Money.
gonna have that one day. We're gonna do that. Staten Island.
Let me know if you've ever watched the movie Easy Money, because I've never watched it. It's on my.
Rodney Dangerfield. That's it.
You
Rodney
got it.
Dangerfield was the star of that movie, and it was about inheritance. He had to behave himself, like for a period of time, or else he wouldn't inherit millions of dollars.
I feel like this
It's
like a
really
movie
funny.
that like a lot.
But
of
a lot of
movies
things
have
are
this
filmed.
concept.
Actually, I was reading a thing and I noticed, like even shots Wolf of Wall Street. I'm familiar with Wolf of Wall Street. The Lamborghini scene in the beginning was the film on Richmond Parkway.
Really?
Yes.
Why? How do you know all these little?
It's interesting
I know
stuff.
King of Staten Island.
Yeah.
Isn't it called
War of the Worlds.
The one with Pete Davidson, King of Staten Island.
But
then
you have the
Great
title
Lakes
right in
Pool.
there. That's Staten Island Summer.
Yeah, no, I know.
So,
Staten Island Summer, is that what
yes.
it's called?
So we're actually getting into nostalgia now. We're just band time.
Yeah.
So, but the big thing is that for the future, if you're thinking about these things, you can go back into the video, which will be on YouTube. And you can check out some of the other stuff and some of the goofy stuff that actually happens here from time to time in these lives. Right? There's some goofy stuff that happens.
We're gonna have some goofy stuff on TikTok.
Yes.
Keep your eye out for that.
That's not my project, folks. I don't want to. That's the PR department's project. So the big thing is that moving forward is that you're coming into home selling season. Evaluation on your own is obviously a tricky endeavor. We encourage you to reach out if you need to have a more professional approach to evaluating your property and getting the right questions answered. So look back into into our social media. You can see some questions and answers regarding this. We actually have some agents, and we're going to be increasing that in the next few months. Adding agents to the mix of people. Maybe we'll do some lives.
Maybe somebody's watching.
Yeah, I have like a special guest. Yeah, I think we have a couple of people who are actually watching that we actually put it out there that we know we invited.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
Yes.
If you've come to see our live,
Our vision is going.
I hope you've learned something.
Yes.
That's what we always try to do every week, is teach everyone topics on real estate.
Mm-hmm. And usually we run the show. It's scheduled at 5. Usually we.
It's like, get this, get that.
That's Johanna time. So everybody knows Johanna. It'll be.
Oh, we got a message.
Yes.
Can you see it?
I can't see it.
Oh, no, you can't?
Hey, it's Victor.
Hi, Vic. We got the
Vic.
sound.
And you should, Vic is actually one of our, maybe there was actually one above that. So it's just, this is like, we're on like a delay. And we got to figure out, we need like a big screen TV to run these
Oh my
things.
God, that would be so cool.
So I could look at this whole entire screen here and watch these comments.
Maybe we can have people
there
join.
was actually, yeah, they're actually adding a feature that you could do that.
I think you can.
Yeah.
I thought you could.
Yeah.
Instagram, maybe it's Instagram.
And maybe, no, you could actually do it. So there's a couple of people.
I do know Instagram Live, you can actually add somebody to the live. I
Yes.
know that. That's definitely.
Yeah, the video technology is going to be, you could create private groups within, there's like rooms now. I don't know if they still have that available, rooms on Facebook, that like you could invite people based on
It
rooms.
sounds like something from like AOL. Rooms.
No, it's during the pandemic it was a thing. I don't know if it's still a
Really?
feature.
Huh.
So like people could do individual rooms, let you know you're in a room.
Yeah.
But it was like a pandemic feature.
Yeah.
It kind of was.
But I think it would be
we're just rambling,
yeah.
folks.
I think it would be really cool though if anyone had a question and they wanted to jump in and ask us a question. I would love for that.
It's funny because I'm watching this, but we're on a delay. It's just so weird. But anyway, with that, let's close our night out. She needs to head out. I need to head out.
I got a long trip.
Yeah, you got a long trip and some packing to do.
Yes.
Right? If you have any questions, obviously put them in the comment section. Thank you for watching again. Fridays, somewhere approximately at 5 o'clock, this is what will go down. And, we'll look forward to seeing you in the future.
Yes.
And stay tuned for more detailed updates and, some endless banter that we obviously could enter you in.
Usually the end.
Yeah, you'll catch some things, and you maybe could throw a couple of comments in there.
Yeah.
Someone's just throwing stuff out there. Swipe left to reveal. I just swipe left to wipe everybody out. There's someone asking questions. Let's just see if we could.
I would love
Oh, there
to
we
see
go.
you.
What's up? So, I'm watching live. So it's Victor right now. Web 3.0. So yes, Vic is a big crypto person.
And Vic also does lives with.
Well, Bitcoin
with
is just
Vic.
let's Vic does lives too. He'll be doing one again shortly. And like I said, we look to invite more agents into that process. Crypto market is doing a lot better than it has, and I think Bitcoin is up. I think it's up 30% for the month.
You're Victor of the Bitcoin.
Yeah, so full disclosure, I am the owner of some of it, so I'm not going to tell you that I'm not. But it's always entertaining. And thank you, Vic, and thank everybody for watching. If you have a question, enter in the thing, and I will learn to talk about circles. All right, have a great weekend, everybody.
Good night, guys. Be safe.
Take care.
Stay warm.